Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. Now I wanted to talk about the process of dis-ease, okay, and how it connects with the mind, okay. Anybody that's had sessions with me of late, there's been a real emphasis on this aspect. We have actually a clearing where we actually remove all communication and symptoms of dis-ease, and we really emphasize pronouncing it that way, dis-ease. And then we bring more of your beingness in, okay, as the second part of the clearing. Why this is such an important and a very successful clearing that we use here at Truly Holistic is because the mind causes dis-ease. So let's just look at this scenario, and this is really based on how we do the clearing itself, is that our body will express itself, okay, through a communication network which we call symptoms, okay? And a lot of the times, at the human level, being guided by the mind or controlled by the mind, either way you want to look at it, is that we go straight into fight or flight mode, and we start to think about that symptom is come about because there's something wrong, okay? And hence, we've been in a pharmaceutical age for a very long time where we can when we get symptoms, we swallow a pill to get rid of the symptoms, because the symptoms are brought to you in a package of saying that is the disease, that is the problem, and by removing the symptoms, therefore you are well again, and that problem has gone away. Okay? The pharmaceutical age has made it easy for us to ignore the body and what it's trying to represent through the act of creating a symptom. Okay? And we're not allowing a chance for ourselves just embody what the body is trying to bring forth, which is one, an awareness and a communication. It just wants to be heard. So let's go through this process. So you get a symptom, okay? And straight away, it's trying to communicate. It's trying to bring your awareness to it, and it's trying to explain something. But as the human, we quite often go into that fight or flight mode because we identify it as that symptom is obviously something that's going wrong. And what happens is the mind comes in and intervenes. And the mind takes a symptom, which is a feeling, and the feeling is a consciousness thing, not a mind thing. And it's a consciousness that is communicated through the vessel of the interface of what we call the human body. And the mind tries to figure out, which it can't, has very little understanding and knowing of what that symptom is representing. And the mind goes into unrest. And through that unrest process, we create miscreation from the mind, because we feel at the human level we know what that represents, that symptom, but we don't. We don't. And so the symptom that came up is not actually is what's materializing or creating dis-ease. It's the mind creating it through its representation of what it believes what that symptom represents. Okay, that's how powerful we are as a creator. There's never a point where we are either creating or not creating. We're either creating miscreation from the mind or pure creation from our consciousness. It's either one of those two. And that's why within sessions at Truly Holistic, an emphasis is also on connection, to establish your true essence, your true identity, which goes beyond the human. Your true essence, your true identity has nothing to do with being a human. The human is just an interface for you to be here to create realities. Okay? Now the mind is something that is connected to the human and the human alone. The mind is not connected to your soul or you being a part of a soul collective and beyond. The mind is connected to the human, and the mind is there as a form of limitation. I always tell my clients that the most common limitation or jail prison that you become familiar with is your own mind. Okay? So we see things like meditation, mindfulness. These are creating a space for you, bring your presence, your awareness to the now, to the moment, which pushes the mind out of the way. The mind needs time. So when we come into the now, into the presence in the moment, which evades the effects of time, the mind can be silenced. The mind does not come in and intervene because the mind requires time. Perfect example is you have a challenge or something in front of you. Now you have an immediate answer, which we call gut instinct. That's consciousness. But if we and ah about it, allow time to intervene, the mind comes in and intervenes and gives you another answer which could lead you down the wrong track. Okay? So what does a symptom represent then? A symptom is your body's ability to communicate. So when you take a pharmaceutical and numb and remove symptoms, you're numbing your body's ability to communicate. And that consciousness that is using the interface of the human to communicate with you, you want that. You don't want to numb it. You don't want to turn it off. Okay? So when you're taking a pharmaceutical in regards to removing symptoms, are you healing yourself? You're not. You're not. Okay? So through that symptom, the body and the intelligence behind the body, which you want it to be your own consciousness, it just wants to be heard. So if your muscles are a bit tense and tight, that's a symptom of communication. It's telling you maybe you should rest that. Maybe you should just stop doing that for a bit. But what do people do? The gym, they just, we're going to fight through it. It's silly. You're not listening to the communication in your body, and eventually you'll have a worse off injury. So you didn't listen. You didn't understand, have the knowing, the understanding of the intelligence of the body through a symptom. Okay? And I'm here to tell you it's not your fault. Okay? Because we've been conditioned, programmed since we've been here to let go of imagination, because imagination and gut instinct are consciousness. You look at a young child full of imagination. They don't need materialistic things. They can create and have enjoyment and happiness with nothing. They create it through imagination. And as we get older and we chronologically get older and we get conditioned out of imagination and we accept this world that was given to us, and then as adults we try to run away from it through escapism, trying to get back to that connection, that feeling of imagination, but we are left with escapism. Okay? So you can see how the process of dis-ease, which is unease, because it all starts from a feeling of something not resonating and not feeling right. Consciousness is a feeling thing. It's a sensation thing. It's not visually seen, okay, because our visual reality is less than 0.05% of the electromagnetic spectrum of light. It's very little. It's a small sliver of existence that our eyes can see. That's why I always tell my clients, we need to feel our way instead of think our way. Think our way as being guided or controlled by the limitations of the mind. Okay? Anxiety, depression, all these problems, physical ailments, dis-ease, degenerative problems, are all created from the mind. From the mind. Okay? Majority of people are scared to step out of the box, to look at things in a limitless way instead of a limited way. Start to look at the possibilities, not just the probabilities. Anything is possible, but you need to break out of the cage of what is called the mind. Okay? So mind causes dis-ease. Out of its lesser knowing or understanding of what that symptom represents, and then the mind creates a miscreation, which then materializes dis-ease into your visual and physical reality. Okay? Why do that with physical reality? Because at the frontier of science and quantum physics, they know that this physical reality is an optical illusion. We actually aren't in a physical reality. This is just an expression of a field that is just vibration and frequency, and flipped into a format where we deem through the aspect of the mind and through that sliver of 0.05% of existence that we decide that this reality is physical. It's like, another analogy I like to use is like a 100-piece puzzle. Okay? The bigger picture is the 100-piece puzzle put together, all the pieces put together. At the human level, where we think we know what we're doing, and science, it's like we're going to be God, right? We know what to do. No, we don't. We don't. You look at every scientific paper, the summary, and what the common words that you see. This may represent that. That may represent that. What's may? May or maybe? That's uncertainty. They don't know. That's what it says. It doesn't know. We observe this, and that's what science provides us, to be the observant, the participant of reality, but with very little knowing and understanding why that takes place. That is the limitation of the mind. Science is a mind creation. Everything that comes out of science is an experiment because it has very little knowing or understanding. This is where consciousness comes in. Consciousness provides the knowing and understanding. So more certainty. Okay? So going back to that analogy, with the human mind, with the human, we make a decision on the greater picture with only one piece of the puzzle, without the other 99 pieces of the puzzle to make that bigger picture. And we make a decision based on that. It's like throwing a dart at a dartboard with the light switched off. Hopefully it will hit the dartboard, but we don't know. Okay? Consciousness, when we can connect the space where we realize as the human need to be in a space of beingness, of just to be, which creates a space to bring through as a conduit everything that we are as a soul part of a collective, a source energy, a celestial, which brings through a knowing and understanding where we can see the greater picture with all 100 pieces of the puzzle put together. Okay? So consciousness is the way, mind is what is creating dis-ease. So I hope you really enjoyed this video, and we use all this information in regards to healing your particular issue when you book a session at Truly Holistic. Till next time, see you later.